I clearly awakened the level 30 talent, God of Sniping. Yet I ignored the Archer class, which has a 100% compatibility rating. Instead, I chose the completely unrelated Shadow Assassin class. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but only I know the truth. The game Apocalypse represents the will of the gods. When the game merges with the real world in the later stages, the gods will invade. If I had chosen Archer, I'd just be trading my life for a god's at best. But a Shadow Assassin paired with the God of Sniping talent can produce a 1+1 is greater than 2 inches effect. After the countdown ended, I entered Skyline once again. But I didn't go hunt monsters to level up immediately. Instead, I went straight to the hunter's house in the starting village. Because in my previous life, a bored player accidentally talked to the hunter and triggered a hidden quest. He even got a one-of-a-kind item in the whole server. With that thing, he eventually became one of the top 10 players. Now that I know about it, I naturally have to get my hands on it first. A lot of people are crowded in front of the hunter's house right now, all trying to figure out how to trigger the quest. But many have already started to give up. They've tried everything, and some were even killed by the hunter several times, yet they still didn't get the quest. I walked through the crowd to the hunter. I got straight to the point and said I wanted to buy the beast skull. The hunter behind the stall shuddered. His sharp eyes stared intensely at me, his tone cold enough to freeze. Where did you hear that news? I knew in my heart that if my answer didn't satisfy him, I'd definitely taste his blade. But I wasn't afraid at all. We can respawn, I said calmly. It's useless even if you kill me now. A look of mockery immediately appeared on the hunter's face. I don't want to sell it. What can you do about it? I can't do anything to you. I looked at him. But don't you want to kill the Wolf King and get revenge? I'll help you kill the Wolf King, and you give me the beast skull. I know that the reason the hunter is lame is because he was ambushed by the Wolf King, though I've always found it strange that a hunter who could obtain a beast skull would be taken down by a Wolf King in the starting village. It doesn't matter, as long as I can trigger the quest. My words clearly hit a nerve. However, he still looked me up and down, sneering. With your strength, you want to kill the Wolf King. How I kill the Wolf King is not your concern, I replied flatly. Within 3 days, I'll bring you the Wolf King's head. In exchange, you give me the beast skull right now. The hunter fell silent. The beast skull was something he risked his life to get. He originally wanted to use it to advance further, but he failed unexpectedly, ambushed by the Wolf King, lost a leg, and became a complete cripple. Keeping it now would just be a waste. He might as well get some revenge first. I can give you the beast skull. He finally spoke, but don't forget your promise. A notification sounded in the next second. Ding, hidden quest accepted. Hunt the Wolf King. Quest description: the Wolf King ambushed the hunter, causing his disability. Bring back the Wolf King's head for a generous reward. Quest rewards: 3,000 EXP, 30 silver coins, and 30 favorability with the hunter. Quest countdown: 3 days. Please note, you have received the quest reward in advance. If the quest is not completed on time, the reward will be reclaimed, and 5 points will be deducted from all attributes. As a penalty, the hunter dragged a wooden box from under the bed and handed it to me solemnly. I took the wooden box. Ding! Obtained special item, Beast Skull. Beast Skull, unique item. Effect 1, Beast Sigil. Gain an additional 5 free attribute points for every level up. Effect 2, Hunting Time. For every 100 monsters killed, or for every boss killed, gain 1 evolution point. Limited to use on equipment or skills. When evolving the same target, the required points will increase. Current evolution points, 1. The advanced quest reward is now locked. Cannot be traded, destroyed, or discarded before quest completion. As expected of a unique item. These stats are insane. A surge of excitement hit me. I left the hunter's hut without looking back. I took the wooden box from the hunter. This scene left many players stunned. This guy must be cheating. Old dang, hurry up and give us your quest. I didn't feel like dealing with them. I directly activated Shadow Walk. melting into the shadows. As I traveled, I studied my talent and skills. God of Sniping Effect 1. Ranged attacks are guaranteed hits and deal true damage. Effect 2. For every meter of distance from the target, damage increases by 10%. The Shadow Assassin can use energy to create shadow daggers. Combined with Shadow Break Strike, I can deal massive burst damage from extreme distances. And as long as I don't break stealth, the walk state can be maintained indefinitely. This perfectly matches my initial vision. The only minor flaw is the 20-second cooldown of Shadow Walk. It seems I need to find a way to reduce the cooldown first. Just then, I suddenly noticed the cooldown for Shadow Walk had already finished. Usually, a normal assassin starts the cooldown only after breaking stealth, but I can wait for the cooldown while still in the walk state. I can enter walk again immediately after the Shadow Break Strike. My safety is completely guaranteed. Then I looked at the Beast Skull and evolved Shadow Walk from normal to Black Iron rank. Black Iron Shadow Walk LV.1. Enter stealth state. Shadow Break Strike deals an additional 120% attack plus 50 points of damage. Consumes 5 mana. Cooldown 18 seconds. Just upgrading from normal to Black Iron. All attributes of Shadow Walk have significantly improved. I looked at the slightly dim beast skull in my hand, and my joy was almost overflowing. Using Walk, I arrived at the Boar Plains. The monsters here are at least level 5. Currently, basically no one would come here. I looked at the boars in the distance. I raised my hand and threw a shadow dagger. I could clearly feel the moment I attacked. An invisible force helped correct my posture, making my dagger throw faster and more accurate. This is a hidden effect of the God of Sniping talent. Looking at it this way, maybe 30 meters isn't my limit at all. One initially set the limit at 30 meters, based on my past life experience. After all, level 1 players don't have high stats, and what they can achieve is limited. But now it seems, the effects of God of Sniping go far beyond the literal description. It has other uses. Just as I was thinking, the shadow dagger had already crossed 30 meters, and accurately hit the boar's belly. Minus 329. A bit of a shame it wasn't a critical hit. Next time I can try to aim. Vitals like eyes have God of Sniping corrections. There's a high probability they'll hit. The wild boar in the distance was suddenly struck by a blade. It immediately became enraged, quickly locked onto me, and lowered its head to charge. But in the next second, it lost its target again, standing there in a daze. I pondered while hiding in the shadows far away. I might as well stay put and wait for the skill cooldown. 10 seconds later, Shadow Dagger finished cooling down. I threw another blade. This time, I specifically aimed for the boar's eye. Minus 494. Weak point attack. That boar, which was lowering its head to eat grass and heal, didn't even let out a grunt before falling to the ground and dying instantly. Bing killed a level 5 wild boar, gained 50 EXP. Level 4 gap kill. As expected, the Sniper God talent corrects my movements. I can already hit exactly where I aim. Right now, I might not be a top-tier dagger master, but I'm at least first class. With this discovery, I immediately changed my leveling plan. Without exaggeration, I feel that even from 100 meters away, I could still accurately hit a wild boar. Waiting for Shadowstalk's cooldown to end, I entered stealth mode once again. But this time, I stood 40 meters away. Although I'm confident I could hit it from 100 meters, there's no need. In case it drops gear, I'd have to run over to pick it up. Anyway, at a 40-meter distance, combined with a weak point attack, it's already enough to one-shot a level 5 wild boar. With a flick of my wrist, the black shadow dagger flew out silently. The boar grazing with its head down didn't notice at all that the shadow of death had already loomed over it. Minus 657. The boar's health bar was instantly emptied. Unsurprisingly, not even a single boar hair dropped. I was very calm about this. I've been grinding in Tianji for 10 years. I've known the nature of this game for a long time. High difficulty, low drop rates. But I didn't expect these small mobs to drop anything good anyway. If I really want gear to drop, I'll have to farm bosses. The next step is to grind mobs like crazy. And so I became a wild boar killer, haunting the tall grass like a ghost. Every strike was a one-shot kill. You have reached level 2. Gained 5 free attribute points. Shadow power is gathering. You have gained an additional 5 free attribute points. Beast blessing activated. Gained an extra 5 free attribute points. A series of prompts made me stop in my tracks. Even among hidden classes, there's a hierarchy. Plus the attribute points from the beast skull. I get a total of 20 attribute points per level, which is twice that of an average player. I plan to distribute the points in a 2-to-1 ratio between agility and strength. Agility is the primary attribute for an assassin. But without better equipment, increasing strength can also increase attack power. This time I turned my gaze toward a level 7 wild boar further away. A shadow dagger condensed in my hand. With a flick of my hand, it flashed away. Nearly 782 damage. It's quite a bit higher. But against a boar with surging health, it still wasn't enough for a one-shot kill. The boar, having been hit, let out an angry howl and lowered its head to charge straight at me. I frowned and immediately activated Shadow Stalk. My figure vanished from the spot. By the time the boar reached where I was standing, I was already over 10 meters away. Once Shadow Dagger finished its cooldown, the low-health boar died instantly. Killed level 7 wild boar, gained 105 EXP. The experience bar jumped forward a bit. But I wasn't satisfied. Compared to taking 2 shots to kill a level 7 boar, I'd rather one-shot a level 5 boar. The latter's base EXP plus the extra bonuses actually make the overall efficiency higher. Do I still have to go back to the village for a set of bow and arrows? I did the math carefully and realized this method didn't make much sense. I do have the sniper god talent, and even if the damage is reduced using a bow, I could still deal significant damage. But once I can't get a one-shot kill, I'd have to rely on kiting. It's not that I can't do it, but my level is too low right now. I could easily be surrounded by nearby boars. When agility isn't high enough, average players simply can't outrun a boar with a charge skill. Instead of running all over the place, I might as well stand further back. To test my theory, I decisively aimed at a boar 80 meters away. At this distance, the boar was just a tiny dot, but I could see it perfectly clearly. And I had a feeling in my heart that as long as I attacked, I would definitely hit. In the next second, with a swish, the black dagger flew out in a straight line. As I watched, the blade kept dissipating, finally turning into shadows at the 50-meter mark. The energy returned to the world. I couldn't help but frown. It seems my own attributes are still insufficient. I turned my gaze to a level 6 wild boar nearby. Health points, 900. Good, you're the one. Weak point attack, minus 976. The level 6 boar grazing leisurely died on the spot. The EXP was also pretty good. Still, it only takes killing a dozen or so wild boars to level up. This time, I put all my free attribute points into agility. Stacking strength alone only brings limited damage increases. Right now, most of my damage output comes from the Shadow Walk's Shadow Break strike. And the fixed damage from Shadow Break itself is the main highlight. Since that's the case, I might as well skip strength entirely and max out agility. While I was busy one-shotting wild boars, another party was heading toward the wild boar plains. Kun, can we even handle wild boars at our level? Those things are at least level 5 over there. Don't worry about it. Someone in the party chuckled. Kun is a hidden class heavy armor warrior. His defense is more than 3 times that of a typical player. And Zhao is a divine flame priest. She can let our attacks deal extra holy damage, which is enough to break through the boar's defense. That actually makes sense. Guess I was overthinking. As they spoke, an archer in the group suddenly raised his hand and pointed at a boar corpse in the distance. He exclaimed in surprise, "Someone beat us here." The lead heavy armor warrior glanced around looking confused. How come I don't see any other parties? If someone came to hunt boars, there should be at least a small group. He barely finished speaking when he saw a level 6 boar in the distance suddenly explode with a bang. And not just that, a glowing orb dropped with a pop next to it. From the icon, it was obviously a piece of equipment. The team's archer instantly got excited. That wild boar committed suicide, he said, rushing forward to grab the loot. But just as he took one step, he was pulled back by Captain Kun. The archer looked up and saw a figure slowly appearing. But after a quick glance from a distance, the figure immediately vanished again. It was so quick, he even wondered if he imagined it. He looked at his teammates, all of whom looked like they'd seen a ghost. Felt like someone was here, but maybe not. The heavy armor warrior turned to the team's assassin. Is that an assassin's stealth skill? The assassin nodded, then shook his head. The skill's appearance looked like Shadow Walk, but here's the thing. Shadow Walk can't be used again right after breaking stealth. You have to wait for cooldown. The heavy armor warrior then asked, could it be advanced stealth? The assassin shook his head vigorously. No way, advanced stealth is a high-level skill. Players at this level can't learn it. The warrior had a thought, and shouted in the direction where the figure disappeared. I'm Jiang Zhuan. I'd like to be friends with you. He had now figured it out. This person must have a hidden assassin class. That immediately sparked his interest. He'd always wanted to build the top guild in Apocalypse. He absolutely couldn't miss out on such a pro. Meanwhile, in my Shadow Walk state, I was a bit stunned. It's actually him. Back in my last life, I interacted with Jiang Zhuan quite a bit. Since we were both heavy armor warriors, we both went all out fighting over the top warrior ranking. But in the end, thanks to my better suited talents, I took first place. Seeing Jiang Zhuan again now, I can't help but feel that things have really changed. As for his invitation, of course I wasn't going to accept. But honestly, he's worth befriending. Thinking that, I exited my Shadow Walk state and looked at the friend request Jiang Zhuan sent. I accepted it on the spot. After some small talk, I turned down their party invite without hesitation. Then I slipped back into Shadow Walk, getting ready to keep grinding, and grabbed the gear that dropped earlier. I looked it over. Stats: Wild Boar Leather Armor Common Grade, Physique +2, Defense 20. Gear requirement, Level 6. I can't equip it yet, so I'll just hang on to it for now. I hadn't left for long when a wild boar suddenly charged Jiang Zhuan's team. It rushed at them. With a loud bang, Jiang Zhuan didn't react in time and got knocked back 3 steps. His health was almost gone. Good thing the team's priest responded quickly. A heal landed immediately. His HP was filled back up instantly. Then he cast Divine Flame Mark on his teammates, all in one smooth move. The party's assassin and archer didn't just stand around either. Both started attacking right away, dealing 5-5 damage. The fixed damage from Divine Flame Mark constantly popped up. But compared to the boar's crazy HP, their efforts still seemed tiny. After a wild brawl, Jiang Zhuan's party finally brought down the level 5 wild boar, claiming victory. Meanwhile, after a few more rounds of practice, I was getting more and more accurate at a 50-meter range. As my stats kept increasing, I'd be able to attack from even farther away. With a casual throw of my dagger, I one-shotted a wild boar from a distance. That leveled me up to 3. With all 15 free attribute points added to agility, my agility had reached a wild 37 points. For a normal assassin player to reach that number, they'd have to be at least level 6 or 7 and pump everything into agility. Prepping with the exotic beast skull first really was the right call. I was satisfied, thinking I'd slay another 60 wild boars and get another evolution point. Still not enough to evolve Shadow Walk though. Unless a boss shows up. Right, how could I forget about that? My eyes lit up. There's a rule in Apocalypse. After a large number of a certain type of monster is killed in a short time, a related boss will spawn. And the easiest monsters to farm in the novice village are slimes. If nothing goes wrong, after all this killing by players, the slime boss should be spawning soon. As I was thinking, out of the corner of my eye, I suddenly saw Zhang Zhuan's group, abandoning a slime with just a third of its health left, and running straight back to the novice village. That's how I knew the boss had spawned. Without any hesitation, I headed for novice village too. Now's when those 37 agility points really paid off. Outside novice village, endless players were rushing forward excitedly. Out of the way, this boss is mine. Says who? Just 'cause you said so. Did you put your name on it? This area is reserved by us, the Rakshasa Palace Guild. If you don't want to die, then get out now. What a crap guild, thinking you can reserve the spot. Eat my blade, fool. Outside the novice village, an especially huge slime was bouncing around. It was chomping down on players in one bite crunch. Tastes like chicken. It's bound to drop awesome loot. But none of this put a dent in the players' enthusiasm. This is the first boss in the novice village after all. But quickly, someone realized something was wrong. Why is no one doing any actual damage? Looking at the boss again, its defense stat was ridiculously high. A whole 250 points. The Black Sludge King shook itself off, without a scratch on it. It kept chasing after players around the field, like it was after a carrot cake. Still, quite a few players have hidden classes, so thanks to their class advantage, some could deal a little bit of damage at least. Grinding away bit by bit, even players who couldn't break its defense, they did manage to drop the Sludge King's HP a little. Didn't want to quit. There's a rule in Apocalypse. Unless a player or party, during a field boss fight, the final loot deals over 50% of the boss's total damage, is randomly given to one of all participants. Basically, anyone has a shot at God-tier gear, so everyone who dies can respawn easily. Plus, they're right outside the novice village. No one has any reservations about going all out. Seeing the boss lose 5% HP, a few guild leaders were frowning anxiously. After all, they came hoping to get the server's first boss kill. But if their damage isn't enough, it'll all be for nothing. While everyone was focused on their own plans, suddenly popped up above the Black Sludge King's head. A massive damage number, 1,976 weak point hit. I was thrilled. As expected of an S-Rank talent, God Hunter. As expected of an S-Rank talent, God Hunter. It can even correct my predictive shots. I was aiming for the giant Black Mud King's eye just now. When I threw the flying knife, I didn't actually have much hope. This Black Mud guy jumps faster than a rabbit. He moves so fast he's almost leaving after images. It's hard enough just to hit him, let alone hit a weak point. But I still hit. This just goes to show how broken the God of Hunt talent is. After throwing the Shadow Dagger, I immediately activated my skill. I took a quick glance while moving. Boss, Giant Black Mud King. Rank, Black Iron. Level 5, HP 4,652. Attack, 350. Defense, 250. Skills, Leap. Turbid Breath. Description: born from the accumulated rage of the Black Mud race. Possesses extreme power far exceeding ordinary Black Mud. This Black Mud King spawned only a few minutes ago. Hundreds of players are surrounding it, but its health bar has only dropped by 5%. Yet, with just one hit from me, I dealt nearly 1,000 damage. At this rate, I'll leave the other players in the dust within a minute. But I didn't dare to relax, because more players are rushing this way, including elite players like those from the Thunderfire Legion. According to the rules of Apocalypse, if I don't deal more than half of the decisive damage, I can't be 100% sure the loot will be mine. I can deal nearly 3,000 damage per minute now. To truly deal over half of the decisive damage, it would take at least 8 minutes. But the number of players is constantly increasing. Too many variables can happen in 8 minutes. Besides, this is the first boss of the beginner village. If I put out such exaggerated DPS, I'll definitely become a target for everyone. The moment I show my face, I'll inevitably be swarmed. For a moment, I was in a bit of a dilemma. Am I really going to just watch this opportunity slip away? While I was thinking, the surrounding players had already exploded in an uproar. What's the situation? Doesn't everyone have a chance to get loot? Where did these insane damage numbers suddenly come from? Find that guy first. Otherwise, this time, the loot ownership will have nothing to do with us. Some people were even spamming skills at the spot where I just appeared, hoping to kill me while I was in Shadow Step. I hid in the shadows, a layer of cold sweat breaking out on my back. Fortunately, I can change Shadow Step seamlessly. Otherwise, I'd have been turned to ash by those crazed players long ago. As soon as the throwing knife's cooldown was up, I struck again. Damage of 976 floated up once more. The Black Mud King's health bar dropped significantly. The surrounding players' eyes widened. They tried desperately to find me, but they still came up empty. The moment I attacked, I had already ducked back into the shadows, waiting for the next opportunity. And my second strike also made Lin Hao, the leader of the Thunderfire Legion who just returned, make a decision that no one expected. He called his subordinates over, whispered a few instructions, and then directly led his people away from the Black Mud King. The other guild leaders were completely baffled. What's going on? Lin Hao is actually giving up the boss first kill? Such a good chance for fame. This doesn't fit his personality at all. The guild leaders were about to go over and fish for info when they heard Lin Hao say loudly, "Our Thunderfire Legion is giving up on this boss." As soon as the name Thunderfire Legion was mentioned, the other leaders got a bit nervous. They hadn't heard of such a high-level expert before. Lin Hao's words made me laugh. Sure enough, he's still the same decisive Lin Hao from my memory. As for him exposing my name, I didn't really mind. Anyway, when the boss is killed, I didn't plan on keeping my ID hidden. Just as I thought that, I threw another shadow dagger. 976. The Black Mud King's health bar dropped again. Those players who were camping my last position, waiting for me, found that I had already moved much further away. All their efforts were in vain. However, not every guild was willing to give up to someone named Bloodblade Slash. The burly man snorted with disdain. Just because you can use Shadow Step, you think you're all that? Force him out for me. As soon as he finished speaking, an arrow shot into the air, exploding into a ball of blinding light. I recognized it instantly. It's the archer's signature skill, Flare, specifically designed to counter assassins. It seems that among these players, there are indeed some big fish hiding. I can't underestimate them. But I didn't panic at all. Flares counter assassins, that's true, but it depends on skill priority. A level 1 flare can't reveal a level 2 shadow step. If they were the same level, it would be down to luck. And higher up, it depends on the skill grade. My shadow step has already evolved to Black Iron grade. Unless a common flare is leveled up to 4 or higher, it won't affect me at all. So this flare, besides dazzling the other players, was useless. Bloodblade Slashes. Smile froze on his face. Where is he? He looked at the archer next to him. The archer was also stunned. My flare is already level 3. How could it not reveal an assassin? He's definitely hacking. I glanced at that archer. This guy has some skill. The server just opened recently, and he actually leveled a skill to LV3. But Bloodblade Slash ultimately didn't waste his firepower on me. Compared to catching me, continuing to hit the Black Mud King was clearly more urgent. After all, they hadn't accumulated 50% of the decisive damage yet. The DPS couldn't stop. The other players watching the show waited for a long time. Seeing that I was never caught, they simply started mocking him. What Bloodblade Legion? Big talk, little skill. Everyone, look closely. Don't join such a useless guild in the future. Bloodblade Slash turned red with rage. He glared fiercely at the archer next to him. I didn't care what he thought, nor how the other players responded. What I needed to do now was keep up the output and firmly secure the loot ownership. Looking at the current situation, it wasn't a big problem. The Bloodblade incident made many guild leaders realize one thing. They currently had no means of countering me. But their own damage output wasn't enough either. Even if they kept fighting, they wouldn't get ownership. If I didn't get ownership, it would just be one boss missed. but they would be offending and elusive, top-tier assassin who kills in one hit. Once targeted by someone like that, they'd never have a peaceful day again. A few guild leaders huddled together to discuss for a moment, and soon reached an agreement. They called back their members one after another, preparing to give up the boss. Of course, not every guild had given up hope. They also saw that my attacks weren't unlimited. A guild leader shouted loudly, "Brothers, don't be bluffed. That 567 might have seamless movement, but he still has to wait for skill cooldowns. Let's all go at it together. Kill this boss first. The loot ownership hasn't been completely decided yet." Right, if 567 wants the ownership, he can't afford to be distracted by us. Let's just hit the boss. Let's see what he can do to us. Many players were instantly moved by the idea. That seems to make sense. Then what are we waiting for? Charge, grab the first kill. Kyuzu, a sanctuary priest watching from not far away, saw this and asked softly, "Leader, should we help 567? To do him a favor?" Lin Hao shook his head. "Don't move yet. Even without us, he can still get the boss ownership." After several other guilds gave up one after another, the Black Mud King's health bar dropped much more slowly. Without those elite players, the solo players alone couldn't deal much damage. Although I didn't attack many times, every strike dealt nearly 1,000 damage. As he watched, Lin Hao also discovered another issue. 567 hits the weak point every single time. The tone of the archer beside him also changed. This guy in real life is definitely a top-tier throwing knife expert. I'm not even as accurate with a custom bow as he is. What exactly is the background of this 567? The Black Mud King was still frantically slaughtering players, but its defense was simply not something anyone could break through at this stage. Normally, it would take players from the novice village working together to slowly wear him down. But because I showed up, this situation was completely shattered. It's been over 4 minutes since I started my attack, and I've thrown 12 shadow daggers back and forth. My total damage output has surpassed 10,000. This kind of damage directly caused many players' mentalities to crumble. Are we even playing the same game? Those guilds still insisting on competing for the first kill also began to find themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place. Soon, 2 more guilds chose to give up, retreating to the side to wait and see. They definitely couldn't snatch the boss anymore, but they could still hope for the loot drops. It couldn't be such a coincidence that I'd be able to use everything that drops, right? Even if I can use it, I would probably sell it. Several guild leaders thought of this and quickly ordered their subordinates to gather gold coins. For a moment, the area outside the novice village actually looked like a trade market. The Black Mud King was still constantly one-shotting people. Maintain the rhythm. Continue to rely on Shadow Breaking Strike to deal high damage. 5 minutes later, my cumulative output has soared to 26,352. The ownership of the boss loot has already clearly fallen into my hands. Seeing this, the remaining players who still refused to give up also lost all hope. They retreated one after another and gave up. As the number of players decreased, the Black Mud King gradually lost its targets. It soon locked its aggro onto me. But it couldn't counter me either. It could only jump violently the moment I attacked, trying to stomp me, this annoying pest, to death. The Black Mud King is very fast, leaping over 10 meters in a single jump. Upon landing, it also sends out a shockwave, which is enough to one-shot most players at this stage. But my attacks continued. I casually threw a dagger, hitting the Black Mud King right in the eye. And after my attack, it immediately lunged back, leaping violently, and landing exactly where I had been standing. It kicked up a massive cloud of dust. This kind of shockwave can easily send fragile assassins back to the respawn point. But I was already prepared. I would maintain Shadow Step, while adjusting my position in advance, perfectly avoiding the shockwave's range. Finally, after taking countless daggers, the Black Mud King fell down unwillingly. Several light orbs dropped. Congratulations on killing a Black Iron rank boss. This kill is a server-wide first kill. Gained 3000 EXP. Extra reward, 20 free attribute points, 1 skill point, and 10 gaze points. You have reached level 4. Gained 15 free attribute points. Hunting time activated. Gained 1 evolution point. The surrounding players watched with envy, but the ownership of the loot was already in my hands. Even if they crowded around, they wouldn't get a single thing. The rewards for this first boss kill are completely mine. Feeling those burning gazes around me, I just shrugged. I casually put all my attribute points into agility. 74 points of agility would be considered exaggerated even on a level 10 player. As for the evolution point, I originally wanted to use it to strengthen Shadow Dagger. But after seeing the LV3 flare, I decided to save it for purifying Shadow Step. This first kill will be announced server-wide. Would you like to hide your ID? I directly chose no. Congratulations to player 567 for the first kill of the Black Iron Rank boss, the Giant Black Mud King. We hope all players will continue their efforts. I looked at the Black Mud King's corpse. There were 5 light orbs floating around it, 4 pieces of equipment, and 1 skill book. This is definitely a massive jackpot. Just as I was feeling that my luck had turned, Lin Hao sent a private friend message. 567. Can you sell me the equipment you can't use? Don't worry, the price will definitely satisfy you. I wasn't surprised by his request at all. I know this old acquaintance far too well. In reality, he is the heir to a multinational conglomerate, a top-tier rich kid. He's focused on building the #1 guild in Apocalypse, and he has indeed poured a lot of heart and soul into it. Before my rebirth, although the Thunderfire Legion didn't become the top guild, it was always among the best. In my previous life, after Apocalypse and Blue Star began to merge, it caused a huge impact on the real world. Lin Hao contributed both money and effort. He acted quite honorably. In that case, selling it to him wouldn't be a bad idea. Thinking of this, I replied, no problem. At this moment, some players noticed. The light orbs around the Black Mud King were slowly disappearing. Crap, 567 is right there. Quick, use area of effect skills to cover the area. As long as we throw enough skills, we can definitely force him out. The gear will be ours then. In an instant, several skills slammed down. Some people even held their broken swords and slashed at the air. If this had been before the boss fight, I might not have been able to dodge so many skills. But things are different now. With the boost from 74 agility, the moment I picked up the loot, I had already run over 10 meters away. It seems I was still being too polite. I casually flicked a shadow dagger. The player who was just leading the shouting was instantly killed by me. That player collapsed with a thud, and several people around were startled. It's 567, he attacked. Wasn't he just picking up gear? How did he get so far away already? I recognized the guy who just got one-shotted. He's an elite member of the Bloodblade Legion. As soon as these words were spoken, Bloodblade Slash's face turned green. He hurriedly shouted, I don't know this guy. But 10 seconds later, a flying dagger appeared silently, killing him instantly as well. At the same time, my voice rang out coldly in the air. From now on, when a field boss appears, don't let me see anyone from the Bloodblade Legion. Otherwise, I'll kill every single one I see. To me, it didn't matter who was instigating the players just now. What mattered was establishing dominance. Besides, Bloodblade Slash's character is trash. I have no psychological burden at all after killing him. Lurking in the shadows, I waited for my skill cooldown. I then proceeded to one-shot several more members of the Bloodblade Legion, making my stance crystal clear. The remaining players finally lost all hope. I also finally had time to check the loot. The first thing I looked at was the skill book I cared about most. Sunder, Black Iron Rank passive skill. While dealing damage, it tears wounds, dealing 20% of attack power, plus 20 points of damage per second. Lasts for 3 seconds. Limited to physical classes. A good skill. The only flaw is probably that Sunder doesn't stack. Even if your attack speed is 10 hits per second, there will still only be one layer of sunder damage. That isn't a big problem. What I care more about is whether this damage over time can benefit from the God Hunter bonus. Based on my current attack, plus Sunder's fixed damage, 3 seconds would be 72 points. If it can receive the God Hunter bonus, the 5x multiplier at a 50-meter distance could reach 360 points. After learning the skill, I looked at the first piece of equipment in my inventory. Black Mud Blade, Black Iron Rank. Attack 50, Agility 5, Level Requirement 5. During the Novice Village stage, this is already top-tier gear. 50 attack power is ridiculously high. Looking at the second piece, Black Mud Armor, Black Iron Rank. Defense 20, Health 200, Level Requirement 5. This will also be a significant boost for me recently. Among the 5 items dropped by the boss, the first 3 are very practical. I'm already very satisfied. Next is the next item. Black Mud Longbow, Black Iron Rank. Attack 50, Agility 5, Level Requirement 5. Strictly speaking, this is the ranged version of the Black Mud Dagger. But players can only carry one type of weapon at this stage. Keeping this bow in my hands doesn't mean much. I saw that Lin Hao has an archer under him. If the price is right, I can sell this bow to him. The last item is the Black Mud Shield. Black Iron Rank. Defense 50, Health 100, Strength 5, Level Requirement 5. I directly sent the shield stats to Lin Hao. His message popped up the very next second. Big shot. Name a price. As long as you say it, I'll pay it. You must save this equipment for me. I laughed to myself and casually replied, I need gold. Coins. How many Apocalypse coins do you have? You can directly bind a bank card to receive cash, and you don't have to worry about the flow of funds being tracked. It's very safe. But I need gold coins even more right now, because there's a quest that can only be activated if I hold a certain amount of gold. Lin Hao immediately asked in the team channel, how many gold coins have we collected? The boss said over there. Several other guilds are also eyeing the equipment in my hands, and are preparing to make an offer. Plus, the money dropped by monsters now is pitifully low, at most just 1 or 2 copper coins. So in the end, they only managed to collect 15 gold. Brother Yun nodded, and said in a flat tone, increase the purchasing efforts. Before he could even finish speaking, another message popped up in the chat box. It was a screenshot of the Slime Longbow's stats I sent over. Brother Yun immediately forwarded it to the archer in the team. When that archer saw it, his mouth went crooked with excitement.
He stared at Brother Yun with eyes full of eagerness.
Brother Yun laughed. Look at how impatient you are. I'll take them all together.
He asked me again, big shot.
What's your target price? I have 15 gold in my hand now, but other guilds are also competing. I estimate I can scrape together 40 gold coins at most. I did a quick calculation. According to the current market, 1 gold coin is worth about 50,000 yuan. 40 gold coins is nearly 2 million. I thought about it for a moment, and replied, I won't overcharge you one set price. 30 gold coins for the 2 pieces of equipment. Brother Zun didn't even blink. He agreed immediately. He didn't care about spending money at all. If this 1 million plus could truly improve his team's strength and establish a connection with me, then it was a total bargain. As long as I helped, his guild would sooner or later become the #1 guild in Apocalypse. But because of this, the leaders of the other guilds couldn't sit still anymore. They also applied to add me as a friend, but I didn't approve any of them. No one knew exactly what other equipment I had, but seeing Brother Yun's reaction, they knew there must be something good. Some tried to fish for information, but Brother Yun was very clever. He immediately put on a worried look.
Oh man.
I can't get in touch with 567 either. What should we do? After saying that, he turned around and raised the purchase price for game currency by another significant margin, making it clear he was determined to win. Hiding in the shadows, I almost laughed out loud. This guy is truly a drama king. If I took these two pieces of equipment to a public auction, I could certainly sell them for more. But 30 gold coins is already enough for me to start the quest. Besides, to sell for a high price, I'd have to wait for the major guilds to slowly gather the money, which takes too much time. I might as well use that time to kill some wild boars and level up. While waiting, I didn't stay idle. After soloing the boss just now, I got a skill point and immediately leveled up Shadow Walk. Shadow Walk upgraded to LV 2. Shadow Strike deals an additional attack power times 120% plus 100 damage. Brother Zun's efficiency was very high. It wasn't long before he messaged me back. Big shot. The gold coins are ready. I initiated the trade directly, pocketing the 30 gold coins. Then, without lingering, I left immediately. Leaving the beginner village for the wilderness, the place I'm going this time, is the Bluestone Barrens to the north of the beginner village. There's a bottomless cliff there, and the surrounding area is full of elite monsters. Ordinary players don't dare to even approach it. But for me, it couldn't be more perfect. After crossing a mountain ridge, I saw a rock giant over 4 meters tall, roaming back and forth. Bluestone Giant, Elite, Level 10. Health, 3,500. Attack, 50. Defense, 400. Skills include Rock Throw and Earth Shock. A Level 10 wild boar only has 1,500 HP. This guy has more than double that. Not to mention its defense is as high as 400. Harder than the Black Iron Tier Giant Slime. Exactly because of this, the boss in the Bluestone Barrens was only discovered 2 months after the server opened. There is a boss here, and its rank is silver. However, the trigger condition is very harsh. One must kill 100 elite Bluestone Giants, and it must be a solo kill. To other players, this is almost as difficult as reaching the heavens, but for me it's a breeze. First, I'll test the bleed damage. The next second, I aimed at the Bluestone Giant in the distance and threw a Shadow Dagger directly. 1,590 damage. As soon as it popped up, I had already entered stealth mode. The one hit was the giant. Failing to find the enemy, it was instantly enraged, roaring at the sky, slamming its arms violently against the ground, and picking up rocks by its feet to throw randomly into the distance. I watched coldly from the shadows. Soon, the bleed damage on it began to take effect. When the minus 120 numbers started floating up, I felt reassured. Bleed damage also benefits from the Great God bonus. 3 seconds later, the Bluestone Giant lost another 360 health. Combined with that Shadow Dagger earlier, its health was already less than half. In other words, I can take down a Bluestone Giant in just 2 hits. Once the skill cooled down, the Shadow Dagger was thrown again. 1,590 weak point attack. The Stone Giant's health bar was instantly emptied. Its entire body crumbled into countless fragments, melting back into this mountain forest. Ding! Killed level 10 Bluestone Giant, gained 150 EXP. Level 6 Gap Kill, gained an extra 90 EXP. As expected of an elite monster, the experience is massive. The more I fought, the more motivated I became, so I just focused on grinding. Before long, I reached level 5. All 15 free attribute points were added to agility. Then I equipped the 2 pieces of gear from my bag. Once my stats went up, my strength immediately surged by a large margin. My attack power even multiplied several times. I did a quick calculation. With my current output within 50 meters, Shadow Dagger combined with Shadow Strike, plus a weak point attack, the direct damage is 2,781. Bleed for 3 seconds, a total of 492 points, resulting in a total of 3,273 damage. A pity it's still not enough to one-shot a Bluestone Giant with a single dagger. Once I've killed enough monsters and obtained evolution points, I'll take Shadow Walk through its second evolution. By then, one-shotting them won't be difficult. I had a blast killing my way through the Bluestone Barrens. Giants fell one after another, and the remains, under some unknown force, quickly melted into the ground. This is activating the Bluestone Giant Lord. The array patterns becoming clearer on the ground are the best evidence. According to data unearthed by players, this boss was sealed here. To other players, it was just a legend for amusement. But I know the true secrets of Apocalypse. This boss likely comes from other worlds merged by Apocalypse. And I have a strong feeling this guess is 80% likely to be true. If Earth can't hold out in the end, will the gods also be swallowed by Apocalypse to become a part of the game and then descend upon another world? As soon as this thought emerged, a chill ran down my spine. The secrets behind Apocalypse are too deep. I took a deep breath. Cold shadow energy condensed in my hand into a dagger, precisely stabbing into the head of a distant bluestone giant. Ding! Killed level 10 bluestone giant, gained 150 EXP. Level 4 gap kill, gained an extra 60 EXP. You have reached level 7, gained 15 free attribute points. Hunting time activated. You have gained 1 evolution point. Evolving Shadow Walk. Ding! Shadow Walk has evolved to Bronze tier. Shadow Strike deals an additional attack power times 140%, plus 400 damage. Mana cost increased. Cooldown time, 16 seconds. The damage has skyrocketed instantly. I stared at the bluestone giant wandering in the distance, and threw another dagger. 6,356. Before, I could deal a total damage of around 3,300 with one dagger, which was already exaggerated enough. But now that Shadow Walk has evolved to Bronze tier, I don't even need bleed damage. I can pretty much one-shot the bluestone giant. One more level should be enough to activate the boss. I'm already feeling quite expectant, wondering how it will feel to solo a silver tier boss by myself. Even the player in my previous life who discovered the Bluestone Lord had to drag a group of people to slowly grind it to death, and the battle was extremely tragic. Next, every time I throw a shadow dagger, a bluestone giant falls. The only thing that's a bit of a shame is shadow dagger does single target damage. It's just not as good as AoE skills. Looks like I'll need to find a chance to get some general ranged skill books. The freedom in this game, Apocalypse, is just absurd. Besides learning skills from class trainers, you can also supplement skills with skill books. There are even generic skill books in the game. You can freely mix and match your skill sets. In other words, as long as players want to, they can totally create things like healing warriors or dual-wielding priests, those crazy classes. But most normal people wouldn't play like that. While I was training hard, Nightblade 1/worked his butt off and finally found out where I was. 567 humiliated me so badly before. I have to pay him back 100-fold. Nightblade 1/'s eyes were filled with rage.
He gripped the scroll in his arms tightly.
That's a top-tier item he risked everything to get. Specifically made to counter assassins. Too bad I had no idea what he was planning. After slaughtering for over 10 minutes straight, I finally hit level 8. I put all my points into agility. I glance at my stats panel. Strength 17, Constitution 12, Agility 145, Spirit 11. With this much agility, even the Wolf King, famous for its speed, won't be able to escape from me. I didn't rush to do the Wolf King quest before, just because that guy is notoriously tricky. High attack speed and even faster when escaping. Unlike normal bosses, once the Wolf King is low on health, it goes wild running away. If your agility isn't high enough, you can't catch up. Now, that's no longer a problem for me. I'll finish off the Bluestone Lord first, then go after the Wolf King. I've got my plan set. As more and more bluestone giants kept falling, the magic formation patterns on the ground became clearer. Occasionally, there would be a tremor from underground. That means the Bluestone Lord is awakening. I tallied up the number of kills and figured the boss would be fully activated in a few more minutes. But before I could keep going, Brother Ming sent me a message. 567. Are you farming in the Bluestone Wilds? Nightblade 1/ is heading there with people. I wasn't surprised after reading it. Nightblade 1/ is a really petty guy. I one-shot him instantly. Of course he'll come back for revenge. But that's not the main thing. The point is, I want to see what trump card he's hiding. He's making such a big show bringing a group over. He must be pretty confident. While I was thinking about this, Brother Yun sent me another message. A buddy told me, Nightblade 1/ found a scroll. No idea what it's for. I instantly understood. That actually makes sense. With that item in hand, regular assassins would be easy to reveal. Meanwhile, Nightblade 1/ was leading a huge group of players, forcing their way into the depths of the Bluestone Highlands. More Bluestone giants kept spawning along the way. They cursed while fighting, struggling with everything they had, just to kill the giants before getting smashed themselves. After clearing one last hunter in front of them, 1/ finally steadied his nerves.
He shouted into the air, 567.
Get out here right now. The other players all stared wide-eyed, waiting to see how I'd react. They figured it would be just like last time. One dagger for an instant kill. Nightblade 1/ thought of that too. So he deliberately found someone with a hidden class to help. That guy can transfer damage, splitting fatal hits among teammates. He's got dozens of people with him this time. So even if I can one-shot each one, it'll still take ages. And in that time, his team can keep respawning and running back. That's Nightblade 1/'s perpetual motion tactic. Of course, that's not all he's got planned. Come on, kill me if you can. Ironblade 1/ sneered to himself. But before he saw the dagger, he noticed first that a bluestone giant in the distance suddenly dropped dead, and a shadow zipped past in the distance. It's 567. Nightblade 1/ shouted. Delighted, he was about to pull out the scroll, when he almost slipped. Suddenly the ground started shaking violently. Cracks like spider webs appeared in the hard stone floor. A terrifying roar erupted from underground. Insects dare to disturb Lord Amos's slumber? I shall crush you. With that roar, an enormous, terrifying figure burst out from below the cliff. Players tumbled all over the place. It took a lot of effort for them to steady themselves. Looking up, almost all of them shouted, "Damn!" in unison. The colossal figure appearing at the cliff's edge was a boss over 20 meters tall, a massive boss made entirely of black stone. And it's silver rank. After a brief shock, excitement and greed instantly filled the players' eyes. Charge, kill the boss. It's loot time! I've heard that earlier the giant slime Brother Yun bought from 567. 2 pieces of gear for a total of 30 gold. That's over 1 million in real cash. And that was just a black iron rank monster. This one's silver rank. It might be worth 10 million easy. We could get rich right here. None of them bothered to check the boss's stats closely. They just charged at the monster. Amos, Obsidian Lord. Silver rank, level 10. HP, 400,000. Attack, 2,000. Defense, 3,000. Skills, Rock Smash, Boulder Throw, Hardened Skin, Heavy Fist Crush. Description, the Sealed Giant Lord. The long seal has stripped him of his original power. Even so, breaking free he still brings endless rage and destruction. Activating the boss before Nightblade Hall's people arrived was exactly how I planned it. Now my damage is off the charts, but my attack frequency is still too low. Nightblade 1/ brought dozens of followers this time. Even if I one-shot every single one, it'll take forever. So instead, I'll just let the boss send them back to spawn for me. With Amos's skill damage, he can clear the area in just a few hits. I'm hiding in the shadows, ready to throw another shadow dagger. Unlike the bluestone giants, Amos's weak spot is on his belly, and it's covered by rocks. It only gets exposed briefly while he's moving. Of course, with my damage, even without hitting the weak spot, I could still solo Amos. It's just a matter of time. But to avoid any surprises, I'll aim for the weak spot every hit. Minus 6,356. The moment I land a weak spot hit, bleed starts ticking. Just 20 more minutes, and I'll solo Amos. No wonder it's a silver rank boss. That's a seriously long health bar. And not far away, Brother Yun's squad was totally stunned. They're too far away to see the numbers over the boss's head clearly. But just by seeing the health bar drop so fast, they can tell how much damage I'm doing. Brother Ming cursed it out loud. Shit. Did I get that right? 567 knocked 6,000 plus off the boss with one dagger. In comparison, Nightblade 1/ actually started to panic. But since he already made the challenge, it's too late to regret now. Just as Nightblade 1/ was thinking this, suddenly everything went dark. A massive boulder several meters wide came crashing down right where he was standing. The ground shook violently. The Renyu Daozan forced himself to stand his ground without moving. The good news was that through damage transfer, he wasn't instant killed. The bad news was the teammates he brought were crushed by that rock, wiping out his entire force instantly. Now there was no one left to share the damage for him. If I were to strike him now, he wouldn't be able to hold out at all. The Renyu Daozan gritted his teeth and pulled out a scroll. This thing was originally meant to be used against me, but there was a slight mishap in the middle, and it ended up being used ahead of time. But it didn't matter. As long as he could break my stealth, sooner or later he could send me back to the resurrection point. Furthermore, he had already arranged for over a dozen guild members with active skills at the resurrection point to specifically and continuously attack it. The moment I returned, I could forget about stepping out easily again. 567. The moment you die, just wait for the aftermath. The Renyi Daozan sneered, tearing the scroll without hesitation. A strange power instantly enveloped the entire Bluestone Barrens. All players received a notification. The gaze of the God of Light is fixed upon this place. All darkness shall have nowhere to hide. At the same time, the Renyi Daozan used the scroll.
He took another burst of damage
And was sent straight back to the resurrection point. But he didn't care at all. It was fine to go back first, as he could watch exactly how I would be repeatedly spawn killed. He didn't believe that, under the power of this scroll, I could still maintain my stealth. I also received the system notification, but I wasn't surprised at all. Back when Brother Young contacted me, I already knew what kind of item he was holding. Gaze of the God of Light, a black iron grade item, also known as the Shanyan Scroll. Judging by the name alone, this thing is indeed quite intimidating, sounding high-end and sophisticated. But in reality, I really wanted to say to the Renyi Daozan, you bought a fake. In Tianji, even in the early stages of the game, any item associated with a deity must be at least dark gold grade. A black iron grade scroll, trying to claim a connection with the God of Light, is nothing but a pipe dream. This thing is just something a crooked NPC uses to fool rookie players. Of course, that's not to say it's useless. On the contrary, it's actually quite effective. It can reveal all stealth effects below bronze grade, but that does not include bronze grade itself. When we fought the giant slime earlier, the Renyi Daozan deduced I had black iron grade stealth, so using this scroll as a trump card wasn't technically a mistake. The problem was, I had already evolved Shadow Stealth once again. In the distance, Brother Yan was somewhat uneasy. If my stealth was broken, I definitely wouldn't be able to solo this boss, and might even be killed instantly. He had received news that the Ren Palace had already surrounded the resurrection point, preparing to launch indiscriminate attacks. The moment I returned to the resurrection point, I wouldn't be able to get out again. Brother Kun was extremely anxious, and quickly told me everything. 567. You should leave first. Don't try to tough it out here. Anyway, the Obsidian Giant Lord Aaron is right here. Once the scroll's effect wears off, we can come back. But before he could finish his sentence, he saw Aaron's health bar drop by a small chunk. That single hit did over 6,000 damage, which was exceptionally eye-catching. The Obsidian Giant Lord, Aaron, was still attacking like a madman. He was feeling incredibly frustrated right now. A tiny bug had been hiding in the shadows, ambushing him, yet he could do nothing about his opponent. That damn power of shadows, wasn't it already cleared by the holy light? How did it pop up again? The more Aaron thought about it, the angrier he got. He grabbed nearby boulders and hurled them outward, hoping to crush that annoying fellow to death. Even an unlucky granite giant was picked up by him casually, flung dozens of meters through the air, and finally slammed into the ground with a boom, left completely dazed. In the process, several unlucky players nearby were also crushed out of existence. From the moment the boss was activated until now, less than half a minute had passed, and already hundreds of players had been directly sent back to the resurrection point. Yet the damage players dealt to Aaron was a uniform string of zeros. They couldn't break his defense at all. Occasionally, someone would deal single-digit damage, only to be swatted into meat paste in the next second. When Luo Chai Daozan led his men over, the scene was massive, with several hundred players closing in. But they were nothing in front of Aaron. However, none of this had any impact on me. I kept to my own rhythm, relying on shadow daggers to continuously deal high damage. It looked simple, but in reality it was incredibly perilous. Aaron is a silver-grade boss, and his raw strength is ridiculously high. The moment I make a move, he immediately counters. To him, boulders weighing several tons are no different from throwing pebbles. He flings them at will, at speeds so fast they even create sonic booms. To be honest, if my agility hadn't been stacked to 145, I wouldn't be able to dodge this onslaught at all. Those rocks fly too fast. They are in front of you in the blink of an eye. If your reaction is a bit slow, dying on the spot would be considered a light consequence. It's only because I've been pushing forward. Otherwise, if Brother Kun saw me jumping around like this, it would surely shatter the tall and mighty image. He has a 567 in his heart. After Aaron fought for a long time and found that the bug was still alive, his mental state began to collapse. And you deserve to die. The more he fought, the angrier he became. To vent his rage,
He simply turned his targets toward the remaining players.
after a series of thunderous booms, the players who came to join the fun were wiped out. Watching from afar, Brother Kun was breaking out in a cold sweat, feeling extremely lucky. Fortunately, 567 warned me. Otherwise, if we were closer, I guess we'd be heading back together. He had just seen with his own eyes a player who had already run nearly 200 meters away still get crushed to death instantly by one of Aaron's rocks. That accuracy was practically like a guided missile. Seeing the entire Black Rock Hills nearly turned into a basin by Aaron's smashing, Brother Kun suddenly received a message from me. "How much are you planning to pay for the equipment this time?" Brother Kun replied quickly, "Anything within a small target, 100 million, is fine." I nodded in satisfaction, threw another dagger, dealt over 6,000 damage, and just before the limit, dashed out of the impact zone of the falling boulders. Looking at the enraged Aaron who could do nothing to me, I actually felt a bit of a sense of superiority. No matter how high the attack, it's useless if it doesn't hit anyone. No matter how good the defense, it still has to take hits honestly in the face of true damage. The most important thing right now is still to slowly grind this boss to death, then go back to find the Wolf King, to trigger the hidden plot following it. If I hadn't seen the relevant quest procedures in my past life, I wouldn't have imagined that the Wolf King could actually be connected to Aaron. But speaking of which, in between them, there is still a key character that connects the two. Once I take down Aaron and activate the hidden dungeon beneath the cliff, I'll be able to lure the Wolf King over. During the skill cooldown gap, I went over the entire quest chain again. The hidden version route is the one I'm taking, which allows me to get the exotic beast skull. The public version is one all players can take. As long as a player reaches level 3, they can go to the hunter to pick up hunting quests. By killing a certain number of wild bison and wolves as required, it will eventually unlock the ultimate quest to hunt the Wolf King. Of course, the normal quest won't give the exotic beast skull, but they all trigger a hidden follow-up in the end. And after the Wolf King jumps into the dungeon, it will also draw out the hidden boss of the beginner village, the resurrected vampire baron. I looked toward the direction of the beginner village, my eyes unconsciously turning a bit darker. Who would have thought that the chief of the beginner village was actually infected by a vampire curse? and eventually became a lapdog for the Vampire Baron? If Tianji were just an ordinary game, I would probably praise the developers for hiding so many Easter eggs. But the hidden side quest of the beginner village represents the sign of the vampires becoming active again. The vampires descended along with Tianji back then, treating the blue planet as a buffet. Thinking of those past events, I seem to hear once again the wails of my kin before they died. I took a deep breath, suppressed all distracting thoughts, and raised my hand to throw another dagger. Aaron, having taken another hit, slammed the ground in anger, but unfortunately, it was completely useless. 10 minutes later, Aaron's health bar has already dropped below half, and 99% of that damage was dealt by me. Brother Kun, watching from a distance, finally breathed a sigh of relief. The good gear is basically ours now. Aaron doesn't have any special mechanics, nor does he have a second phase. After being pelted by my flying knives for so long, this silver-grade boss, powerful enough to dominate the starter village, finally collapsed, filled with rage and frustration. His black, rocky body first lost its luster, then became covered in cracks, and finally crumbled into a pile of rubble with a thunderous roar. Through the dust, several glimmers of silver light were visible, with a faint golden flash hidden among them. I got excited the moment I saw it. To think a gold-grade drop came from an over-leveled kill. In Apocalypse, there is only a tiny probability of dropping loot that is a tier higher than the boss. Gained 20,000 EXP for killing a silver-grade boss. This kill is the server-wide first kill. Extra reward, 50 free attribute points, 5 skill points, and 50 reputation. You have reached level 10, gained 30 free attribute points and 1 evolution point. This first kill will now be announced server-wide. Hide ID? No. Player 567 achieved the first kill of a silver-grade boss. Obsidian Lord Aaron. We hope all players continue their hard work. Player 567 is the first to reach level 10. The level leaderboard is now open. You have reached level 10. Please proceed to a class mentor as soon as possible to complete your first class advancement. Please note that, until class advancement is complete, your experience cap will be locked. Excess experience will automatically enter the experience pool. A series of notification pings rang out incessantly. As a silver-grade boss, Aaron's first kill rewards are indeed generous, especially the experience. It leveled me up twice on the spot. This also means that as long as I can wear the gear Aaron dropped, I can immediately switch to level 10 silver grade equipment. The stats are much stronger than level 5 black iron gear. I put all 80 free attribute points into agility. Now my agility has exceeded 200. In the real world, this speed would be enough to compete for the title of the world's fastest sprinter. I opened my inventory and began checking the loot. I looked at the gold grade item first. Substitute Strawman. Gold grade item. Takes fatal damage on behalf of the owner, and teleports the owner to a designated safe zone. Can manually choose whether to activate. Uses. 1. I froze for a moment. I can't believe it's this thing. In this stage of Apocalypse, the substitute Strawman is considered among gold-grade items to be somewhat useless. Most players feel that if they die, they can just restart. It's just a matter of spending more time. But I know that Apocalypse will eventually descend into reality. When that time comes, death will be permanent. The value of the substitute Strawman started skyrocketing from that point on. An extra life. Who wouldn't want that? For something this good, I wouldn't sell it for any amount of money. Next, I looked at the second loot. Obsidian plate armor, silver grade defense, 300. Health, 1000. Strength plus 10. Requirements. Level 10, strength greater than 50. Gear in Apocalypse basically has no class restrictions, but it does have attribute restrictions. Since I went with a full agility build, this plate armor is destined not to be mine. I casually sent the stats to Brother Kun. The third item was the obsidian necklace. Silver grade health, 100. Mana, 300. Spirit plus 20. Requirements. Level 10, spirit greater than 50. The fourth piece was finally something I could use. Mountain Star Ring. Silver grade, health 200. Vitality 200. Requirements level 10. Equipment effect. Creates a shield that can absorb 3000 damage. Duration 30 seconds. Cooldown 10 minutes. These stats aren't exactly mind-blowing, but luckily it has an equipment effect, and it's exactly what I need right now. Rakshasa 1/. That guy is still camping me at the respawn point. It's never wrong to have more survival tools. There are 2 more drops. I hope they're useful as well. When I looked at the 5th piece of loot, my expression suddenly turned strange. Holy crap, why is it this thing? Appearing before my eyes was a guild token. Silver grade item. Can be used at a main city administrative officer to establish a guild of up to 1000 members. In Apocalypse, a guild token is mandatory to form a guild, and different grades of tokens have different member capacity limits. A low-level guild can be expanded using a higher grade guild token. There's no need to disband and rebuild. For players, establishing a guild isn't just for a sense of belonging. The more practical benefit is forming raids. Aside from the raid dungeons that will open later, in normal field, combat, and small dungeons, players are limited to a 6-person party. But once a guild is established, the leader and vice leader can form raids. Depending on the guild level, you can form teams of 100 to 1000 people. This is a massive advantage in field boss battles. Not everyone is like me, able to deal enough damage on my own. Most players still rely on grouping up to kill bosses. That's where the importance of a guild lies. At this point in time, even though everyone is still in the starter village, if I were to put this guild token up for sale, it would definitely lure out the leaders of all the major guilds. It's no exaggeration to say that this token could easily auction for over 100 million. I vaguely remember the first guild token in my previous life being hyped up to over 300 or 400 million. But the timing isn't right to sell it just yet. I need to wait for an opportunity to properly screw over. Rakshasa 1/. After putting away the guild token, I looked at the final drop. Stone of Prowess. Silver grade item. Permanently increases strength by 20 points upon use. Nothing more to say about this. I used it immediately. It wasn't until I finished processing all the loot that I finally had time to check my messages. In the private chat interface, it was completely packed with messages from Brother Kun. I briefly explained the equipment situation to him. Anxiously waiting in the distance, Brother Kun immediately jumped up. 567 replied. He said he has 2 pieces of gear he can sell me. As he spoke, he sent the stats for the obsidian plate armor and obsidian necklace to the party chat. 567 hasn't given a price yet. Zhao Zhu, analyze this. What's a fair offer? Kun asked. Zhao Zhu thought for a moment and said, 5 million plus a 20% stake in Sunder Dynasty. Although I haven't talked to 567 directly, based on the previous situation, 567 doesn't seem to be averse to the boss. Kun was also thoughtful. That is actually a good idea. But in the end, it depends on whether 567 is willing. If he doesn't want to be involved with us in the real world, he probably won't accept the shares. So we need to prepare a backup plan. Zhao Zhu nodded. The backup plan is still 5 million, plus 2 universal range skill books of at least black iron grade. Kun praised, good. This proposal is exactly what I had in mind. He immediately opened his friends list and sent over the first proposal. After sending it, there was no reply for a long time. Kun was pacing restlessly in anxiety. It wasn't until a while later that he finally received my reply. Your chief strategist gave you 2 options, right? I'll take the second one. Kun was suddenly stunned. He definitely didn't know me from before, but the other party's behavior was like they knew him inside out. Kun replied quickly. Our offer is still 5 million in cash, plus 2 universal range skill books of at least black iron grade. This plan was exactly what I wanted. As for the one before, I wouldn't even consider it. Although I had many dealings with Kun in my previous life, that doesn't mean I trust him. especially when it involves my real identity. I still remember that in my previous life, many top-tier players didn't die at the hands of alien races, but rather died from a backstab by those closest to them. I'll trade the 2 pieces of gear over. I received the transfer notification quickly. As for the remaining 2 skill books, I'll get them to you as soon as possible. No problem. Once the trade is done, I didn't rush to leave. Instead, I walked to the edge of the cliff. Haroun's corpse had already begun to crack, slowly merging into the earth. Soon, it left an opening where it lay. Down through that opening is the entrance to a hidden dungeon. With a few leaps, I landed on a flat area below the cliff. There was a cave here. The entrance was covered by a translucent screen of light. I just reached my hand out. The moment I touched the screen, the entire server received a system notification. Player 567 has discovered the hidden dungeon, Scarlet Dusk Snow, beneath the cliff. Players are encouraged to explore it. This dungeon is highly difficult. Please choose an appropriate difficulty to clear it. For a moment, all players stopped what they were doing. They started asking around about the dungeon's location. Soon they formed teams in 2s and 3s, braving the fire from the black rock giants. They rushed toward the platform under the cliff, leaving a trail of corpses. Finally, they saw that long-awaited dungeon entrance. Please select dungeon difficulty, Normal, Warrior, King, Nightmare. A few players discussed it. They thought it was better to play it safe. They'd farm normal mode first to get some gear. As a result, they were wiped out by the first wave of mobs as soon as they entered. The team at the respawn point looked at each other in bewilderment. What happened? As more players reappeared at the respawn point, cursing broke out everywhere. What kind of crappy dungeon is this? Even normal mode is this hard? Game devs, are you even human? But after discovering the hidden dungeon, I wasn't in a hurry to go in and farm. Instead, I left directly, heading toward Volf Slope. I knew very well that with the players' current levels and gear, clearing normal mode would already be their limit. The following 3 difficulties are progressively more insane. Of course, none of that compares to what happens when the Volf King jumps into the dungeon. Even Nightmare mode can't compare to that special mode's difficulty. Everything else is manageable. The overall difficulty is similar to Nightmare mode. The real trouble is the final hidden boss, the resurrected Blood Baron.
He's ridiculously strong.
Fighting him is pure torture. On the way to Volf Slope, I was also thinking, once I get the Blood Baron's heart, what kind of righteous stance should I take? To confront the novice village chief? However, once players expose the chief's true face, not only will this guy not repent, but he will also tempt players to join the Blood faction. Once someone chooses to join, one day in the future, they will completely bow down before the descending blood race, becoming their lapdogs, finding joy in slaughtering their own kind. Rakshasa 1/ couldn't resist the temptation either. In the end, he jumped into the pit, taking the whole Rakshasa palace with him. When the worlds further merge, and death is projected into reality, I'll take out Rakshasa 1/ first. Thanks to my ridiculously high agility, my movement speed far exceeds that of ordinary players. I soon arrived at my destination, Grey Volf Slope. Before even getting close, I could hear the Volf howls rising and falling in the wild grass. While looking for the Volf King, I took out every wild Volf in sight with my throwing knives. Though the EXP cap is locked, as long as I complete the class advancement, all that EXP will be credited immediately. Moreover, I need to keep grinding. For evolution points, I'll clear every mob I see. No waste allowed. Since I have to tackle the special mode later, I should use my skill points first. I upgraded Shadow Walk first. Ding, consumed 2 skill points. Shadow Walk level increased to LV4. Shadow Breaking Strike deals an extra 140% of attack power as damage, plus 800 bonus damage. Mana cost, 5. Cooldown, 16 seconds. A 400-point flat increase, plus the weak point hit from Shadow Breaking Strike, and the multiple bonuses from Snipe God, is enough to make the damage of Shadow Dagger exceed the 10,000 mark. While I was immersed in the joy of my increased damage, a sudden wolf howl caught my attention. I looked toward the sound. It was exactly the Wolf King I had been searching for. I immediately charged forward with my throwing knives and started dealing damage. A few minutes later, the Wolf King's howl echoed throughout Grey Wolf Slope, compared to his former majesty,
He looked more like a stray dog now.
retreating desperately with his tail between his legs. Even the elite wolves by his side died instantly after being grazed by the throwing knives. But the Wolf King didn't dare look back. This enemy was too terrifying. He had only been ambushed a few times, and it felt as though he could already hear his ancestors calling for him. The Wolf King let out a frustrated howl, only to be hit by another throwing knife immediately after. His health bar plummeted. Terrified, the Wolf King shut his mouth instantly. He didn't even dare to breathe loudly, focused only on running for his life. He had only one thought, no matter what, he had to get to that place. I watched the Wolf King bolt north. I couldn't help but grin. This guy actually has some brains.
He knows he's outmatched and leads the trouble to his rival.
Exactly.
The Wolf King and the Blood Baron were natural enemies. To be more precise, it was a long-standing feud between werewolves and the Blood race. After the hidden dungeon was activated, the Wolf King was fatefully drawn to the north. He knew an enemy was there, but he was too weak. He couldn't kill the other party at all. In that case, he might as well lead the enemy to that rival he'd never met, and let them fight to the death. It didn't matter if he died, as long as his enemy didn't have it easy either. Many players preparing to conquer the hidden dungeon, Scarlet Crypt witnessed an unforgettable scene. The ruler of Wolf Slope, the bronze great boss One-Eyed Wolf King, had actually run to the granite hills, but his condition was clearly terrible. His health was almost empty. The players got excited instantly. This is a boss, delivered right to our doorstep. Someone tried to rush up to land the killing blow, but before he could strike, he was swiped back to the respawn point by the Wolf King. The Wolf King was already full of suppressed rage. Now he completely exploded, attacking the surrounding players frantically. Hiding in the shadows, I was displeased watching this. What are you doing, kid? Hurry up and jump into the dungeon. I flicked another throwing knife. The high damage numbers from the throwing knife instantly snapped the Wolf King back to his senses. He practically crawled to the edge of the cliff, leaped off, and crashed straight into the dungeon entrance. The next second, throughout the granite hills, a terrifying and eerie roar echoed, mixed with a bit of humiliated rage. You damn beast! Where are you biting? As the Blood Baron flew into a rage, the entrance to the Scarlet Crypt turned from translucent, gradually into blood red. It looked as if it were soaked in fresh blood, emanating an ominous aura. At the same time, every team currently clearing the dungeon received a game notification. The sleeping Blood Baron has been awakened. His wrath has covered the entire Scarlet Crypt. Monster attack power increased by 20%. Attack speed increased by 20%. Beneath the health bars of all monsters, a new buff appeared simultaneously. Baron's Wrath. The teams that were already struggling suddenly met with disaster. In an instant, the respawn points were filled with cursing. And the culprit of all this, me, was currently choosing the dungeon difficulty. You have selected Nightmare difficulty. Warning, an unknown change has occurred in this difficulty. Please choose carefully. As I confirmed, starlight twinkled at the dungeon entrance. As soon as I entered, I heard wolf howls coming from deep within. But unlike before, these howls were a bit raspy. I knew. It was because the Wolf King had been turned into an undead wolf. His body had rotted, so his voice naturally changed. Then the low chuckles of the Blood Baron echoed. I smell the scent of fresh flesh. Truly delicious. Intruder, I will drain every last drop of your blood. Go, my servants. Bring the intruder to me. I want a feast. Following his command, excited hissing echoed throughout the entire Crimson Tomb. Those were the voices of vampire thralls. Thud, thud, thud. Chaotic footsteps surged from all directions. In the dim light, A group of terrifying creatures climbed swiftly against the walls, rushed toward the dungeon exit. I took a glance. Monster stats instantly appeared before my eyes. Awakened Vampire Thrall, level 10. HP 10,000. Attack 480, Defense 28. Oh. Skills: Bite, Disease Infection, Blood Tracking. Description: Adventurers who entered this place years ago were transformed into thralls by the Vampire Baron, now loyally guarding this tomb. A level 10 monster with a whopping 10,000 HP. Attack and defense are quite high too. If found in the wild, they'd easily be a mini-boss. But here, they're just ordinary mobs at best. That's the nightmare difficulty. A dozen vampire thralls aggressively charged toward me, but next second they all froze. Where's the human? They can smell the scent of a living person in the air, but can't figure out where they are. It's a stealth walker. The vampire thralls quickly made their judgment. They immediately gathered together. They've encountered stealthy enemies before, know the weaknesses of such foes. Their attack range is limited. If they want to strike, they first need to let the enemy get into their attack radius. Once the enemy comes out of stealth, all except the attacked thrall will swarm together and tear the intruder to pieces. That's quite a thorough plan. Too bad they're facing me. 11,503 weakness attack. A vampire thrall took a flying knife to the head. Its health bar instantly emptied. Dropped dead on the spot. Killed a level 10 vampire thrall and gained 200 XP.
XP cap is locked.
I immediately activated Shadow Walk. The remaining vampire thralls were dumbfounded. The enemy's aura was coming from dozens of meters away. Isn't he a stealth walker? How can he attack from so far away? Before they could figure it out, another vampire thrall dropped dead on the spot. One thrall couldn't suppress its bloodlust any longer, charged toward the direction where the aura came from, its claws scratching madly at the air, desperately trying to find the enemy. But its struggle was doomed to fail. A few seconds later, the thrall still scratching froze. HP bar emptied, collapsed with confusion in its mind. I looked at the hallway where mobs kept respawning, decided on a quick finish, slaughtered my way forward. By the time my backpack was stuffed with common gear, I was already standing before the first boss, which was a giant bat hanging upside down from the tomb ceiling. Vampire bat. Silver tier, level 10, HP 350,000. Attack 1,500 plus 300. Defense 800. Skills: Screech, Sonic Wave, Rapid Dive, Coal Swarm, Life Drain. Description: The Vampire Baron's pet. Favorite snack: human brains. I took a deep breath as I made my move. My body instantly turned into shadow. I sprinted away, right where I had just been standing. A black shadow suddenly dove down, smashing cracks into the tough stone floor. Amidst the swirling dust, the vampire bat shook its head and let out an irritated screech. Its speed was already fast enough, and yet it still couldn't catch me. Looks like this fight won't be easy. I know full well I'm only in stealth, not completely phased. If the enemy's attack lands, it'll still cause damage. The worst thing about the vampire bat is how fast it is. And it's insanely fast. If I hadn't run instantly, I'd have been smashed flat like the floor. But dodging isn't the same as being safe. The vampire bat missed and instantly switched tactics. Its abdomen raised high. Then it opened its mouth for a piercing scream. An invisible shockwave spread out in a fan shape. The stone in front of the vampire bat was shattered to powder. Just imagine, if you took that hit head on, even a heavily armored player would have a bad time, let alone someone small like me. The vampire bat stared at the ruins ahead, didn't see the intruder's corpse, instantly realized the enemy wasn't here. Wings flapped, returned to the tomb ceiling. Those glowing red eyes swiveled, scanning me. Hiding in the shadows, I looked grim. No wonder it's a nightmare tier boss. Counterattacks just kept coming. Not a single gap. Normal assassins probably wouldn't survive even the first dive. Too bad he's up against me. Once Shadow Walk's cooldown ended, I made another move, and then took off running again. Boom! Vampire bat dive-bombed the ground. Another screeching sonic wave. Several giant stones shattered into rubble. But I stayed perfectly unharmed, already hiding in another corner waiting for cooldown. Even a silver tier boss can't find me without sonic detection. Of course, that's thanks to my Shadow Walk, now upgraded to Bronze tier. If it was still just the basic tier, with its sharp senses, the vampire bat could at least vaguely pinpoint my position and prepare in advance. But now I can only say sorry. Just wait for your death. After several more flying knives, the vampire bat's health dropped below half. It let out an angry, sinister laugh. Countless bats rushed out from nearby crypts, swirling through the air. This is the vampire bat's second phase, summoning a swarm of bats to attack the player. Most annoying part is, these little bats' attacks have a lifesteal effect. If players can't clear them fast enough, you might end up outputting less damage. Then the boss restores with healing. But for me, this phase isn't much different from before. The small bats aren't as fast as the vampire bat. They can't even touch me, let alone heal the boss. 3 out of the boss's 4 skills don't affect me. And even life drain is useless. It can't even lock onto me, so there's no way for it to cast. So its outcome was decided long ago. Boom! The vampire bat's health bar emptied. It crashed down hard from the ceiling. Killed level 10 silver tier boss vampire bat. Gained 20,000 XP.
XP cap is locked.
Hunt time activated. You gained 1 evolution point. Current points, 2. As the vampire bat crashed from the ceiling, the summoned small bats immediately scattered and fled. I stepped forward, picked up the dropped gear. Vampiric blade. Silver tier attack power 300. Agility 15 requires level 10 to equip. I equipped it right away. My attack power instantly jumped to 400. Damage soared by a huge margin. The current me. I'm more confident about taking down the vampire baron now. I didn't expect the first boss would drop the weapon I needed the most. With special mode activated, there are 3 bosses in the Crimson Crypt. Even if each boss only drops 1 item, I can still get 2 silver grade equipments. With my new weapon equipped, I'm almost itching to test it out. And conveniently, another vampire minion comes rushing in for death. I raised my hand and slashed. Minus 18,535. That vampire minion instantly turned into a corpse. 7 stars, 20,000 damage. These small mobs can't possibly handle that. After 10 minutes of non-stop one-shot kills, I arrived at the second boss. In the empty room ahead stood 2 tall, menacing stone statues. They don't seem particularly dangerous, but I know, if players foolishly walk up, they'll get ambushed by gargoyles. 2 silver-grade gargoyles attacking at the same time are definitely trouble for players. I aimed at the statues and threw a flying dagger. Minus 9,268, minus 9,268. 2 damage numbers floated above the statues at the same time. Next second, both statues' eyes suddenly opened. Their wings on the back flapped fiercely, and they lunged at me from left and right. A familiar scene unfolded again. The gargoyles' attacks only smashed the ground, but caused no damage to me at all. Twin gargoyles, silver grade. Level 10, HP 25,000, attack 1,000 plus 200 defense 2,000. Skills, Gale Surge, relentless counterattack. Physical mitigation, lifelink. Description, the vampire barons gatekeepers. With their psychic connection, they slay any intruders. Their HP seems low, but the real issue is, these twin gargoyles share their health pool. Any damage dealt to them gets split and transferred between them. In other words, the boss's total HP is actually as high as 500,000. Not only that, the twin gargoyles are physical nemeses. On top of already high defense, they get an extra 70% physical damage reduction. More than enough to make any assassin or ranger lose hope. If players bring a magic team, they'll fall into another trap. Because the third boss has a magic immunity shield. Level 10 players already don't have high stats, and the last 2 bosses are tailored for different classes. Solo players really have a hard time. But against me, the twin gargoyles that doom regular physical classes were no different than ordinary bosses. As I dodged their attacks, the bleed skill also kicked in. Damage numbers popped up above each gargoyle, adding up to over 1,000. With the sharpshooter talent boost, bleed damage ignored. Defense, which isn't super high, but enough for me. The water twin gargoyles shared their feelings and sensed their partner's shock. Their much prided defense seemed non-existent against their enemy. One round of attacks shaved off almost 20,000 HP. Just 20 or so rounds, their health bar would be emptied. The twin gargoyles flew into the air, flapping their wings, generating cyclones, and rampaged along a curved path in the room. Now, the boss skill Gale Surge creates tornadoes, dealing continuous damage. And since they're twins, there will always be 2 tornadoes each time. Sincerely tests the player's movement, but my speed is insanely fast. Let alone 2 tornadoes. Even 10 or 20 wouldn't be an issue. Eventually, the twin gargoyles turned back into statues after dozens of daggers, and shattered into countless fragments, crumbled into countless pieces. Defeated level 10 silver grade boss twin gargoyles. Received 20,000 EXP. Hunt moment triggered. You received 2 evolution points. Current points 4. Though twin gargoyles are hard to kill, being 2 bosses evolution point rewards are especially generous. I walked forward and picked up the loot. Gargoyle bracers. Silver grade, defense 100. HP 800. Strength 20. Equip requirement level 10. Strength over 60. I previously used the Stone of Strength and gained 20 strength points. But to equip these bracers, I'm still a bit short. Unless I put all my next level's stat points into strength. Hey, let's keep it for now. Stored the loot. I kept moving forward. Once I defeat the 3rd boss, I'll meet the hidden boss, Vampire Baron. But apparently the Baron is even more impatient than me. Laughter erupted again, echoing through the crypt. Very good, intruder. Your strength intrigues me. Come to me. I will grant you immortality. I immediately realized this was triggering a side quest. Normally, the Vampire Baron is openly hostile toward any player who disturbs his sleep. Absolutely hostile. But there are exceptions, like my crazy combat power. He'll offer a choice, using immortality as bait to lure players into joining the vampire faction. Not only does it grant a hidden blood class job, but also extremely long life. Compared to conditions, it's way better than what the village chief offers. I seriously suspect the chief took kickbacks. Otherwise, why does the chief only offer stats, while the Baron offers a hidden class and extended life? I hold a grudge against shady middlemen. I'm furious, and decided to fully expose the village chief, clearing the rest of the mobs along the way, and grabbing a few regular items. I finally reached the deepest part of the Shining Crypt. Here was a tomb decorated with intricate murals. Treasures piled up in the corners, covered in cobwebs, clearly haven't been visited for ages. The center of the tomb, dozens of chains hung down from ceiling corners, with a giant bronze coffin suspended in midair. A loud rumble. As soon as I stepped into the tomb, the heavy door at the passage behind me fell shut, accompanied by a screech of metal scraping. The lid of the bronze coffin was thrown open. From the coffin, a figure in an elegant suit slowly sat up. Resurrected Ryan. Silver grade, level 10. HP 600,000. Attack 1,600 plus 320. Defense 1,600. Skills. Frenzied Blades. Magic Shield. Blink. Description. Dinner time. You have awakened the crypt's true master. Are you ready to face his wrath? That description is really misleading. Others might not know, but I do. This Ryan is actually just the Vampire Baron's steward. He gets to sleep in the bronze coffin, just as a stall tactic, to cover up the Baron's existence. Otherwise, with Ryan's rank, he'd never get a coffin that deluxe. As I was thinking, Ryan woke up completely, leapt out of the coffin, and landed steadily on the ground. His vicious gaze scanned the tomb. He's the Forerunner. I hid in the shadows, not rushing to attack. Ryan, just like the previous 2 bosses, has extremely strong perception, and with Blink, can teleport instantly. On seamless streets, Frenzied Blades deals huge AoE damage. To kill a boss like that, you need some skill. Lucky for me, I know the answer. Beside those pillars nearby, players soloing Ryan must make use of that circle of pillars. I moved next to a pillar and threw a flying dagger. Minus 18,535. Weak point attack. Even after turning undead, Ryan still has a weak point. It's just not in the head. It's in the river of blood in his chest. That is the core weakness of all vampires. When fighting vampires, if you want to truly kill them, just slaying them isn't enough. You have to destroy both their blood and their body. The Walzer the first struck didn't look panicked at all. Instead, he immediately activated his skill. He moved so fast I could barely see him. In the blink of an eye, he rushed right up to me. By the time I could see clearly again, he already had 2 bone daggers in his hands. He started slashing at me like a madman. With a boom, shards of stone flew everywhere. The 1-meter-thick stone pillar next to me had a huge chunk hacked right off. A couple more hits, and it would probably snap in two. This is the most troublesome thing about soloing Walzer. There are 12 stone pillars in this crypt. Each can only withstand 3 hits from his frenzied blades. But if all the pillars are destroyed, I'll be completely exposed to his attacks. With my level 10 stats right now, even with top-tier equipment, I can't tank many hits. Classes with low defense will get one-shotted on contact. Fortunately, Walzer's combo of Shadow Shift and Frenzied Blades has a cooldown of over 10 seconds, which, for me, is just enough time for Shadow Walk to come off cooldown. I strike again, and Walzer blinks again, sweeping with blazing blades, chipping shards off the sacred pillars. I retreat behind another pillar while I have the chance, staring at the 2 daggers in his hands, my heart racing with excitement. Dual-wield weapons like these are rare. Not only do they have high base stats, they also have set bonuses. Overall, they rival even gold-tier equipment. After players complete their first job advancement, class restrictions gradually ease up. For example, after assassins reach level 10 and advance, they can dual-wield weapons. Even though the offhand weapon only grants 70% of its stats, that's already pretty impressive. If I could get my hands on this set, that would be perfect. I throw another throwing knife with a flick of my wrist. Walzer instantly uses Shadow Shift followed by Frenzied Blades, but this combo is useless against me. He doesn't rush in, and instead stops, as if he's thinking about something. Then he speaks slowly. "Intruder, your strength impresses me. Try this on for size." My heart sinks, because I know he's calling for backup. Come, my brothers and sisters. It's dinner time. At Walzer's summons, several blurry figures quickly appear beside him. Sophia the head maid, bronze gardener, Baru the bronze butcher, and 2 other bronze-level mini-bosses. The second phase of the bronze boss fight is exactly this kind of ganging up battle. It's also the hardest part about fighting Walzer. As soon as Shadow Walk was off cooldown, I immediately threw a throwing knife at Ools. Take out the boss first, and the rest will disappear along with him. Once I kill him, there's no point wasting damage on the mini-bosses. Just as I leap up, Ools is already in front of me. The other 4 minions close in at the same time, all unleashing their skills, engulfing the spot where I just stood. But my tactics are already slippery enough. Strike and run, never giving them a chance to touch me. Walzer roared in frustration again and again, but could do nothing to stop me. Time ticked by, and Walzer's health steadily dropped. But the crypt's pillars, under the combined assault of Walzer and his minions, started collapsing one after another. Luckily, I had enough time to deal with him before all the pillars were destroyed. Lord Ools, I have failed. Ools let out a long sigh, collapsing to the ground in exhaustion. The 4 mini-bosses he summoned also froze in place, their figures becoming more and more transparent, and soon they completely vanished. Ding! Defeated level 10 silver tier boss Ud. Gained 20,000 XP. As soon as the system notification appeared, my eyes were drawn to 2 glowing orbs of loot, lying on the ground. 2 pieces of equipment, and both were weapon icons. I couldn't help but smirk. Could I really get a whole set on my first kill? With that hope in mind, I stepped forward and picked up all the loot. Bone-cutting dagger, main hand, silver tier. Attack power, 300. Agility, 15. Bloodletting bayonet, offhand, silver tier. Attack power, 300. Agility, 15. Equip requirement, level 10. The stats are pretty ordinary. The attributes are almost identical to my current extreme blood blade. The real difference is in the set bonus. It's exactly because of this bonus that they're able to compete with gold tier gear. Set 2, plus 200 attack power, activates frenzied dash. Move rapidly toward a target direction while unleashing a blade storm, dealing 200 attack power damage to all enemies along the path. Cooldown, 30 seconds. Not only does it boost attack power even more, it also adds a powerful mobility skill. This is Ulza's signature move, Shadow Shift, combined with Frenzied Blades as a substitute dual wield. Only after collecting the full set can you unlock this active effect, which is why the set is so hard to replace in the early game. What I'm after is this dashing mobility skill. Even though I can rely on Shadow Walk for movement, if the enemy is prepared and bombards my expected location with AoE spells, if they have enough skills and the area is big enough, they can completely lock me down with damage. Bone-cutting dual blades is currently one of my few ways to gain mobility. Just then, a deep laughter echoed from deep within the tomb. You actually defeated Walzer. Your strength truly surprises me. Come, join me. Let us enjoy immortality together. Game notification. Hidden side quest activated. Difficult decision? Option 1. Kill the Vampire Baron. No reward for this option. Option 2. Accept the Baron's offer. Rewards determined by your primary attributes. Unlock special class, Crimson. Assassin lifespan increased by 300 years. Between these two options, the second one is clearly much better. Because of this, some clueless players choose to side with the Vampire Baron. But I know very well that behind these generous rewards lies a trap that leads straight to the abyss. I sneered, Baron, prepared to die. You have made your choice. The Vampire Baron will now be your lifelong enemy. The notification flashed by, but I didn't give it another thought. I walked straight to the corner of the tomb, kicked aside the treasures lying on the ground, and revealed a floor tile beneath. I stepped on it lightly, and the next second, the sound of a mechanism came from behind the stone wall.
Clank.
The chains holding the bronze coffin loosened. Then the whole coffin crashed down, smashing a bottomless pit into the floor. Wails and curses echoed from the pit, along with the sound of liquid flowing. The smell of blood was so thick it was suffocating. Below was the blood pool where the Vampire Baron hides. I stared into the pitch-black hole, quickly found a way down, and jumped in. After falling dozens of meters, I finally landed steadily. In front of me was a single passage, leading to a chamber glowing with dark red light. The Baron's voice came from inside, simmering with rage. Intruder, this will be your grave. With your blood, I'll refill this nearly dried-up blood pool. I peered in from behind the stone wall and saw a scene much like the crypt above, but even more eerie. The obsidian floor was spotless without a speck of dust. In the center was a blood pool, filled with bubbling crimson blood. Next to the pool, the Vampire Baron reclined, his face full of satisfaction. Beside him lay the Wolf King, now transformed into a deathly undead Wolf. Baron Gurna, Gold Tier, Level 15, 1.5 million HP. Attack 6,000. Defense 4,000. Skills: Crimson Pact, Life Conversion, Blood Surge Support. Blood Tide, Venomous Blood, Plague. Description: the Vampire Baron awakening from his slumber. Because of his long slumber, his power has inevitably decreased, but he remains unbeatable. There's still time to submit to him now. The Resurrected Wolf King, Silver Tier. Level 10, HP 315,000. Attack 1,500. Defense 1,200. Skills: Rabies, Lethal Bite. Call of the Wild. Description: the Wolf King who barged into the Baron's resting place was resurrected by vampire magic after death and turned into a puppet. now loyally guards his former enemy. Both bosses are harder than the last. Especially the Baron. His HP reaches a staggering 1,500,000. If it weren't for my Titan talent, even if the Vampire Baron just stood there, I'd need to hack away at him for ages. Because of this boss was only defeated after being discovered by players a long time later. It took forever to finally kill him. His defenses are off the charts. Plus, his level exceeds the novice village cap, having reached level 15. And that's when he's not even at his best. After losing power from oversleeping, I've decided to take out the Wolf King first. The resurrected Wolf King isn't a summoned creature. So even if the Baron dies first, he won't disappear. And he's fast too. If he camps out ahead of time, I'll have a hard time. Luckily, the Wolf King doesn't have that much HP. Thinking of this, I immediately throw a dagger. The Wolf King lets out a furious howl. Baron Gorna furrows his brow, but neither of them makes further moves. He doesn't even get up from the blood pool. Just as I expected. This awakening wasn't part of the Baron's plan. He originally meant to sleep for another 100 years. But the Wolf King rudely interrupted. Because of this, he's not fully recovered yet. The Wolf King's HP keeps dropping, making the Baron's face grow darker and darker. His eyes glow red. He glares at me. Long ago, there was an old saying among vampires. Even when hitting the dog, you look at the owner. He was the one who revived the Wolf King. Now the Wolf King's being beaten senseless by an outsider. And as his master, that's pretty humiliating. The Baron has decided to take me out himself. Once the Wolf King's HP drops below half, the Baron roars angrily. Enough! Then he raises his arm and slams it into the blood pool. Countless drops of blood shoot into the air, scattering like bullets in all directions. Rocks shatter off the cave walls. It's a terrifying commotion. The instant he raises his hand, I use Shadow Step and dash right for the cave entrance. I dodge the attack, taking cover behind the wall. The Wolf King finally catches a break, runs to the Baron's side, and whimpers with his head down. The Baron points a finger, and a crimson orb burrows into the Wolf King. The Wolf King immediately lets out an excited roar, his HP instantly jumping back up by 20. I curse in my head, cheater. But all I can do is watch. That's the Baron's life conversion skill. All I can do is keep attacking. But the Baron can use this skill infinitely. As long as my DPS is high enough, I can brute force the revived Wolf King down. When the Wolf King's HP drops to 15, he runs back to the Baron again. The Baron, furious, yells, useless, but still uses life conversion again, restoring another 20 HP to the Wolf King. But it's pointless. The Wolf King won't survive for a third heal. But the bad news is,
Gorna.
The Baron's body is swelling with power again. He's about to leave the blood pool. The pool trembles violently. The Baron turns into a crimson blur, leaps out of the blood pool, and hovers in Knitter. He scans the room from above, a cruel smile on his lips. Now it's my turn blood tide. With the Baron at the center, a dozen red torrents surge outward. Walls and even the obsidian floor are sliced like butter by a hot knife. They tear right through with ease. I can't see the damage numbers, but I know this move is lethal. It's got to be over 10,000 damage. Ordinary players without a solid survivability setup would get wiped out in the first wave. I can only avoid the brunt of the attack myself, retreating outside the crypt to wait for a chance. Once Shadow Step is off cooldown, I slip back in again, throwing a dagger as soon as I'm in. Then I instantly Shadow Step again. The Wolf King lets out a dying howl, and the Baron has already locked his gaze on me. Got you. While speaking, he smashes a bloodstain to the ground with a wave of his hand. A cloud of white smoke rises up, even corroding a deep pit into the obsidian floor. If that hit me, I'd be dead on the spot. Thanks to my high agility, I dodged the strike. The Baron freezes for a second, obviously surprised that I evaded. You're strong, he says in a low voice. You'll become a dangerous enemy of my kind someday. But unfortunately, today you must die here. Dark Duel. Inky black energy spreads from him, quickly enveloping the entire crypt. Baron Gorna activates his special move, Dark Duel, sealing off all escape routes. The battle only ends when one side dies. Warning: if you die in the Dark Duel, your character will be permanently deleted. My heart skips a beat.
He actually has a move like this.
In my previous life, I never heard of Baron Gorna having this skill. He can even force delete your account? That's just ridiculous. Where did things go wrong? Is this the butterfly effect from my reincarnation? Or a hidden rule of the game itself? Or maybe my sniper talent drew the attention of those above, making them notice this world early? I quickly pushed these thoughts down. Dark Duel is in effect, and it's spreading fast. In an instant, I'm caught in its range. It's way too late to escape now. The situation looks grim for me, but I spot a chance to win. The Baron can't counter my stealth. A slow smile spreads on my lips in the darkness. Your stats are high, but my playstyle is truly unbeatable. After saying so, I hurl a dagger at the dying Wolf King. Stick to the plan. Take out the little one first, then wear down the big one. Baron Gorna sees that not only am I not begging for my life, I'm still fighting, and against his pet no less. His rage is about to explode. The Wolf King feels wronged, not understanding why he's always the one getting attacked. A few more hits, and the Wolf King's HP bar is emptied. He crashes heavily to the ground, dropping a pile of loot. But I've got no time to pick up any of it, because the Baron's blood sword is coming again. The Baron has insanely keen senses. Even though I'm still hidden, he's blindly firing skills in my general direction. From the moment he left the blood pool, it's only been minutes, but the once smooth obsidian floor is already pitted and scarred from corrosion. The smell is pungent. Your stench is making it hard for me to breathe. With the Wolf King dealt with, I turn my attention back to Baron Gorna, focusing on his fingers. I remember his drop list includes a storage ring, which is just what I need for my small backpack. Hope it drops. Baron Gorna may not see me, but he can sense my gaze. He raises his right hand slightly and sneers. Greedy little thing, you want my family heirloom? Then be prepared to die for it. The aftermath of Blood Tide still rages, and a blast of blood energy pounds the area again. Chunks of stone rain from the ceiling. I glance up at the ceiling. If this keeps up, the whole crypt might cave in. I hurl a dagger straight at him. This hit alone takes nearly 20,000 HP off the Baron. Shock flashes across Baron Gorna's face. He can't even hide it. Silent voice path. How could a mere mortal possess such power? He's not talking about sniper talent, but real damage. Even among the major alien races, this kind of power is extremely rare. Switching to the Blood Clan side, only kings or higher might be able to wield it. Baron Gorna grew more certain that he had to kill this intruder. But speaking of which, this intruder's level is clearly low. So how are his shadow skills so refined? Even I can't find any flaws. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration struck the Baron. Phantom power. After a brief shock, he became even more excited. Didn't expect a bonus reward. As long as I kill you and devour all your flesh and blood, I'll surely obtain the power of love. Then I'll be the new ruler of the Blood Clan. Minus 18,535 weak point attack. This hit dealt massive damage, immediately shattering the Baron's illusions. He suddenly realized, maybe he'd oversimplified this battle. Would an intruder who controls real damage and shadow power actually die at his hands? The Baron began to lose confidence. Even his skill casts grew hesitant. I don't know what he's thinking, but for me, slower attack frequency is always a good thing. When HP dropped to 75, the Baron could still pretend nothing was wrong. When it fell to 30, he was already getting anxious. But he still felt he had the situation under control. When his HP was down to just 10, his expression was barely holding together. His eyes darted around restlessly, clearly searching for an escape route. Too bad. His own dark deathmatch hasn't ended yet, and his escape route was completely sealed off. After reflecting on his mistakes, The Baron finally spoke up. Intruder, your strength has earned my recognition. I'm willing to share with you the secret of immortality. You've activated a hidden side quest. A cornered beast fights back. Option 1. Kill the Blood Clan Baron in one strike. Quest reward. No. Option 2. Accept the Baron's offer. Quest reward. Receive the Baron's ennoblement. Get the title of Star Crimson Knight. Additional 500 years of lifespan. No novelty at all. Of course, I'm sticking with my original choice. I flicked out a throwing knife, immediately shattering the Baron's illusions. Trying to beg for mercy at this point? Too late, denied again. The Baron flew into a rage. He started screaming. Just wait, my clan will definitely crush your world. I couldn't be bothered with him. As soon as my skill cooldown was up, I threw another knife at him. Baron Golna toppled onto the ground, unwilling and regretful, breathing his last. With his death, a pile of gold and glowing loot burst out, making it nearly impossible for me to open my eyes. A huge loot drop. These are gold-level boss rewards. The only pity is, I can't equip them yet. Meanwhile, system notifications kept popping up. Ding, defeated level 15 gold-level boss, Baron Golna. Earned 50,000 EXP. System notice, this kill is the server's first kill. Bonus, 100 free attribute points, 10 skill points. Seeing these rewards, I didn't hesitate at all. Dumped all the free points into agility. My agility skyrocketed to 350. Once I complete my class advancement, I'll unlock dual wield, switch to my spare dual blades, and my attack power will jump up several hundred more points. Just thinking about it makes me feel a bit giddy. As for those 10 skill points, I'm holding on to them for now. I'm about to head back to the novice village to turn in my quest, then to the main city for class advancement. Once that's done, I'll get new skills. If there's a suitable one, I can spend the skill points right away. I walked over to the Wolf King's corpse, collected the loot piece by piece into my bag, and chopped off its hammer to store, along with some bone blood. I didn't forget the Baron's blood either. That's the key item to expose the village chief's true identity. Once that's taken care of, the blood in the pool had dried up, revealing the spell formation at the bottom, the teleport portal to leave. Damn, it sent me straight back to an abandoned cabin in the novice village. But I wasn't in a rush to go back. I remember very clearly. If players return through this portal, without any Blood Clan aura on them, they'll trigger the chief's trap, plus an ambush by ghost minions. To play it safe, I plan to swap 2 pieces of gear first, and raise my HP. After all the effort to take down the Baron, I don't want to die to some cheap trick in the end. Killed by the chief. The only downside, the Baron's loot requires level 15, and I can't equip it yet. With that in mind, I quickly checked the Wolf King's loot. Wolf King Cloak, Silver level, Defense 50, HP plus 800, Tier 20, Equip requirement, Level 10. This cloak's stats lean toward agility, which is perfect for me. Wolf King Leggards, Silver level, Defense 100, HP plus 1000, Agility plus 10, Equip requirement, Level 10. Nice, I got lucky. Swapping the 2 gear pieces, my HP visibly jumped up, and my agility got a boost. Nice, I feel way more confident heading back. Last piece is an item. Wolf King's Blood. Silver level, permanent plus 15 agility on use. I love attribute boosting items like this. Without hesitation, I slapped and used it. After checking the Wolf King's loot, I looked at a few golden glowing items in my bag. The first one made my eyes go wide. Healing Blood Family Crest, Gold level ring. Adds 100 inventory slots. No level requirement. Items stored inside won't drop. A storage ring actually dropped. It doesn't boost stats, but it expands my bag capacity, which is something every player dreams of. The practicality is insane. And stored items never drop. So even if I do get killed, I won't have to worry about losing gear. An absolute god tier item. I happily slipped the ring onto my finger, then looked at the rest of the loot, but sadly, I can't use any of those yet. until I saw the last loot piece, and I was completely stunned. Toxic blood plague. Gold level passive skill. Poisonous blood corrodes the enemy's wounds, dealing 40% of attack power or spell power, plus 100 damage per second, lasting 5 seconds. If the target dies during this, toxic blood plague spreads to enemies within 10 meters. What did I just get? In my previous life, this was known by countless players as the miracle of endless poison. This thing is seriously a monster farming artifact. Once a mob dies, the damage continues to spread. Pair it with the OE skills for solo farming, and leveling up gets ridiculously fast. Even though I don't have group skills yet, that's fine. Using shadow-throwing knives will do for now. It's enough. And Ji Yoidan over there is already helping me hunt down related skill books. Should hear back in 3 days, tops. Then I'll be able to go from ranged assassin straight to ranged spell assassin. Just tossing a skill into a mob cluster, my EXP will shoot up like crazy. Just picturing it gets my blood pumping. I turn to look at the teleport portal in the blood pool. Time to head back. Taijiao stepped onto the portal. With a flash of light, I vanished from my spot instantly. Almost at the same time, the chief of Novice Village number 9527 shuddered violently, as if his heart was hit by a storm. His master's portal spell formation was activated. But it shouldn't be time yet, and remembering his master's angry roar earlier, the chief suddenly had a bad feeling. On the other side, I just teleported into the cabin. A translucent ghost spread its claws, slashed fiercely at the air. Judging from its attack trajectory, it hadn't noticed me at all. It was simply acting according to the conditions set by Zeranian. As long as it didn't sense vampire aura, it would attack immediately. I dodged effortlessly. With a swift strike, I took it down instantly. After that, I disabled stealth. Walked confidently out of the cabin. But I had barely taken 2 steps before a huge crowd of players blocked the way outside. Holy crap, 567. Those 4 words hit like an explosion, spreading instantly across the entire newbie village. Countless players dropped what they were doing, rushed over like crazy, just to witness firsthand the person who had only appeared in the server-wide announcements. Seeing more and more players gathering around, I had an idea. So I raised my voice and said, I know you're all anxious, but don't be in such a rush. Anyone interested in doing a hidden quest with me? If anyone else had said this, most players on the spot would have just scoffed. But the person saying this was 567, so it's a whole different story. 567, where's this quest you mentioned? Can we accept it right now? If we go with you and end up empty-handed, won't we lose big? Listening to the barrage of questions, I waved my hand. Too many questions. It's inconvenient for me to answer. I'm heading out to do the quest now. Whoever wants to come, just follow. After saying that, I pushed through the crowd and walked toward the village chief. Players kept trying to ask more, but seeing no chance, they just followed in a swarm. Soon we arrived together at the village chief's doorstep. He was already waiting outside in advance. Beside him were a pair of vigilant village guards. As soon as I appeared, the village chief caught the scent on me. That was the grudge left before the master's death. Instantly, the chief understood.
His master
Was killed by this outsider standing in front of him. There's an evil aura about him. Arrest him. The chief raised his hand, pointed at me, his voice cold and fierce. The guards heard, and immediately raised their swords and shields, pressing in toward me.